Your Royal Highness, Lady Diana, since the engagement was announced, you've both done quite a bit of travelling and you've met a large number of people. What sort of reactions have you encountered to your marriage?
Oh, the most overwhelming and touching reactions as far as we've been concerned. I of course, went to New Zealand and Australia and Venezuela and then America on the way back. This was in April and May, and there people were amazingly friendly and enthusiastic. And since then, all the times I've been around different parts of the country here, the reaction has been literally fantastic, and I've never seen so many people around and such friendliness and overwhelming sort of generosity and endless cards and presents and just, I think, the most marvellous, warm, affectionate reaction, which I just find incredibly touching.
Lady Diana, meeting so many people is still quite new to you. How have you reacted to this warmth and affection?
It's been a tremendous boost. And just a mass of smiling faces. It's wonderful.
Quite emotional too.
Oh, very, very is.
Of course, thousands of people are joining in your wedding festivities in a very practical way, aren't they? I'm thinking of all the street parties and collections for charities and so on. Have you had to become very involved in that side of the festivities?
Not so personally involved, but I try to make sure I'm informed of what's going on. The difficulty is there is so much coming in terms of mail and presents and so on, that it's very hard to keep up, particularly when you try to dash about the country as well. But I mean, already this week alone, I think there have been 25,000 letters. And it's averaged 15,000 letters for the last 4 weeks. And I think roughly since we got engaged, there's been about 100,000 letters. Which, I mean, I wanted to be able to take the opportunity to say how really, really grateful we are for such, I mean, incredible kindness. I can't get over it. And I think there have been, what now, something like over 3,000 presents. And I looked this morning, and there's a corridor stacked with, I don't know, 40 sacks full of presents and mail still, which we can't get through. And I mean, it's incredible.
You've obviously had a staggering amount of mail, and I'm sure you've been able to look at some of it yourselves. Is there anything that's particularly touched you?
Well, for me, all the things that have come from children who've obviously spent hours of work on paintings, pictures, cards, anything like that, and things they've baked at home. It's wonderful.
Baked?
Oh, yes.
Have you had cakes?
Yes. There's so many Smarties, you can hardly see what it is. And it's lovely. Really nice.
You had a very special collage from the children at the kindergarten.
Yes, I collected it last Friday when I went to the end-of-term party, which I ended up being battered and bruised. And there's so many children crawling on top of me. But they presented me with that and a glass representing young England. It was lovely, really nice.
Super. What does it actually show on the collage?
Oh, well, it's the firework display that's going to happen on Tuesday. The one I'm not going to.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to be tucked up in bed, I think, early night.
Not allowed to see me anyway the night before.
Well, no.
Well,
even by the light of an exploding firework.
By tradition, that's absolutely right.
Thank you.
That collage is obviously going to bring an awful lot of happy memories for you, isn't
Yes.
it, of the days there?
It is, because they were wonderful to me, the staff especially, putting up with the media for such a long time.
Yes. How did you actually come to be at the kindergarten in the first place?
Well, it was through friends. I wanted to teach children, and they said, why not come along? So I first started off doing afternoons, and then I took over the mornings and did whole days. But I only worked 3 days a week at kindergarten, and the other 2 I looked after American baby boy, which nobody seems to realise. It was very special to me.
Because the wedding has obviously meant a great deal of planning and preparation, a lot of work, I imagine, behind the scenes. How much have you become involved in that personally?
Well, we both tried to be very much involved. I mean, the wedding presents, thanking them, or signing letters or something like that. But, I mean, there's so much coming in, it's very difficult to keep up with it all.
A lot of work going on here at the palace.
Oh, yes. And all these people who've organised the wedding at a larger scale than usual is tremendous, it really is.
Of course, music is a special feature, sir, of the wedding service. So could you tell us something about your choice of music?
Well, the other thing is I've always longed to have a musical wedding. And one of the reasons, fortunately anyway, we both love St. Paul's, which was, thank goodness, a good start. But one of the reasons I particularly wanted to be married was because I think that, musically speaking, it is such a magnificent setting, and the whole acoustics is so spectacular, with a 10 or 11 second sort of after sound, after note. And so I've taken a lot of interest in that, and actually in the whole thing. I mean, I very much wanted to take a hand in the organisation from the very beginning. And I've had great fun organising the music, with a great deal of help from the director of the Royal College of Music, Sir David Wilcox, who I've known for some years, through the Bach Choir, which I'm president of, and he runs. And so we've had a marvellous time getting together 3 orchestras that I'm patron of, and the Bach Choir that I'm president of. And also, very exciting, that Kirita Kanuma, the Maori opera singer, is prepared to sing in the cathedral. So I can't wait for the whole thing. I want everybody to come out, you know, having had a marvellous musical and emotional experience.
Pomp and circumstance will no doubt add to that. Was that your choice?
Oh, yes. But you see, I think the thing which is very important with a big cathedral and a long aisle, and you said it took 3.5 minutes?
Something like that.
To walk up, you want something very stirring and dramatic and noisy to carry you up. Because if you have something like the choir, you start hearing your ankles cricking, you know what I mean? And it's much more difficult to walk without, you know, something very sort of stirring. So this is what we tried to find, stirring things.
You're not worried about that 3.5 minute walk?
No, I go along with everybody else.
Did you choose any of the hymns yourself, any of the music?
The one hymn, My Vow to Thee, My Country, which has always been my favourite since school days.
Do you have a favourite hymn or psalm?
Yes, well, the one I chose was Christ has Made the Sure Foundation, which has got the most marvellous harmony. I find it very moving. So I shall, I think, spend half the time in tears.
Of course, people are seeing this very much as a state occasion, but weddings are always really personal, family things as well. Have you been able to put in any small personal touches that will still make it very much your day?
Have we been able to put in any small personal touches?
I think by inviting one's friends and all people who've helped us.
Yes, it must have been enormous fun actually putting together a guest list of people.
Well, I don't know. Because if you have a certain amount, you have to sort of take a few people out or whatever. It has been quite difficult my side anyway.
But I very much wanted, from my point of view, to have as many people who I've known in the Navy and university and the Air Force and everybody I've been involved with for the last, 20 years, literally, in school. All the marvellous people who looked after me at these different places. And to try and remember everybody has been an absolute nightmare, hasn't it? And suddenly, I mean, even now, I suddenly remember somebody that I tried hard to remember but didn't. And I hope we've got most people.
It is a nice way, isn't it, of seeing friends and saying thank you, really.
Absolutely.
What about the guests, apart from the guests, the presents, because you've drawn up this lovely list of presents. Did you get together in deciding what was going to go on that list?
No, it was me. I had great fun going around. And my list's completely empty. It's all come to us. It's marvellous.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're not going to get stuck with 2 toasters or something like that?
Well, I don't know about that. We've got 2 houses to fill, so I've been busily writing thank you letters to various people.
One thing that I know St. Paul's have done to make it, from their point of view, very personal, they were telling me that where you're going to make your vows, they've made a platform so that at least you can feel that you're together and alone, because I think everyone would agree, when you make your vows, that's the most solemn, the most precious, and a very personal moment. Is it going to be that for you, even though you know the eyes of the world are watching you at that very important moment? Well,
I hope so, yes. I don't know about Diana, but I'm more used to it, I think, probably now, you know, knowing for years that the camera's poking at you from every quarter and recording every twitch you make. So you can get used to a certain extent, and on those occasions you accept that that's part of it. And I think if you don't try to work out in your own mind some kind of method for existing and surviving this kind of thing, you would go mad, I think. And so in the end you do get used to it, but I don't know, do you find that after the last 6 months you're beginning to get used to it?
Just.
It is, I suppose, one of the most important things you're going to have to adjust to, really, isn't it?
Of course, yes.
And Prince Charles has been a great help to you in that way.
It's a tower of strength.
Gracious.
I had to say that because you're sitting there.
I'm sure you would anyway.
After the marriage, how do you see your role, Lady Diana, developing as Princess of Wales?
Well, I very much look forward to going to Wales and meeting everybody, but my life will be a great challenge.
Do you have any particular interests?
Well, obviously it's children, but interest will broaden as the years go on. So I'm 20, I've got a good start.
You're going to Wales, but you don't plan to learn Welsh like the
Oh
Prince
yes,
of
I'm
Wales.
sure I should pick up a few words.
Will you be having, after your marriage, public engagements? Will they be separate or will they be joint, do you think?
Well, I think quite a lot will be joint, obviously, and certainly to begin with. And I think, obviously, when we go abroad, they'll be joint. But I think that as Diana begins to do various things or gets involved in the children's things, that very often you get many more invitations, you meet more people, you suddenly find areas or things that you think, my goodness, I'd like to do something about improving things here or encouraging there. And after a bit you develop your own sphere, I think, and this is what I found, because I was about 20 when I was launched onto the scene. And you do start to build these things up, but I think to start with we will, don't you think, do quite a lot together.
With all these heavy responsibilities and these public duties that you're both going to have, you're going to have time for the private life, for making a home and running a home, sort of thing that young married couples do.
You're the one with the domestic
Are you looking forward
responsibilities.
to making a home at Highgrove, for example?
Oh yes, very much so. Looking forward to being a good wife.
Are you a good cook, by the way?
I have done cooking course, yes. I don't think, I'm average. But you haven't tasted anything, because I won't let you.
But I think you're absolutely right. It is the most difficult thing, I think, is trying to work out how you can have a family life as well as all the public demands that there are. I mean, I tend to lead a sort of idiotic existence of trying to get involved in too many things and dashing about. And this is going to be my problem, is trying to sort of control myself and you know, work out something so that we can have a proper family life. It isn't easy. There's so much to be done, you know.
Did you find the glare of publicity intruded into your own childhood?
Oh yes, inevitably a bit. But it's, when you're a child, it doesn't mean nearly so much. You don't notice it until that awful moment when you sort of drop into adolescence, and then everything becomes you become more aware of everything. But you probably remember that.
Yes.
And things mean much more, and you become self-conscious. But until you've left that unself-conscious stage as a child, you don't really notice everything. Slightly getting away from the point, which I did want to re-emphasize, which was that we just wanted this particular opportunity to say to everybody who's been so kind and generous and marvellous that we are deeply, deeply grateful, and can't say how grateful we are, really, and that we just look forward to being able to do as much as we can to help in this country and elsewhere in the Commonwealth.
And doing that job together, so may we finally ask you, sir, that after Wednesday, Of course, up until now, all your public duties you've done, as it were, solo, by yourself. After Wednesday, you will have a wife by your side. That's obviously going to make an enormous difference to you.
But it's marvellous to have a lot of support.
Better like
It's
it.
great.
So finally, thank you very much indeed, both of you, for giving us so much of your time and what I know is a frantic schedule for you. And on behalf of Andrew and myself and the millions who will be with you and watching on the day, we wish you all the happiness in the world.
Thank you very much.